origin to create the term eugenics for an applied science based on genetics and breeding. The science of eugenics proposed that human perfection could be developed through selective breeding. In the late 19th century, researchers developed the idea that a blend of genetic research and social theory, eugenics soon crossed the Atlantic. By the 1920s and 30s, was adopted by mainstream scientists, doctors, and the general public. Positive and negative approaches. The eugenics movement had two basic strands. Advocates of positive eugenics believed in promoting childbearing by the fit classes. I want you to notice that. Fit classes. Those who supported negative eugenics stood for the discouragement and suppression of reproduction among people of inferior stock. Within these two camps, the definitions of who would be classified as fit and unfit varied greatly. A vehicle for racism and nativism. Some eugenics separated the fit and unfit classes along racist and nativist lines. Under this eugenics model, those considered most unworthy of rearing children were couples who were middle class or upper class Nordic Teutonic whites. Most worthy. You hear that? Racial minorities and ethnic immigrant groups were typically classified as unfit. The poor and physically handicapped, whose problems were classified as hereditary, were also in this negative category. Eugenics supporters pushed middle and upper class native whites to have large families. In some circles, eugenicists went as far as declaring birth control selfish and a form of racial suicide. The same people believed that blacks and other minorities should not reproduce. Although eugenicists did not promote contraceptive use, fearing that the unfit would not use the methods properly, sterilization was often promoted as the best option to limit their numbers. And yes, they were sterilized. Margaret Sanger's birth control pill movement and the quest for the pill intersected the rise of the eugenics movement in America. At a time when birth control was still not publicly accepted in American society, some eugenicists believed birth control was a useful tool for curbing procreation among the weak. In the 1920s and 30s, Sanger calculated that success of the eugenics idea gave her own movement legitimacy and tried to ally her cause with the movement. Eugenics was a dominant theme at her birth control conferences, and Sanger spoke publicly of the need to put an end to breeding by the unfit. In 1920, Sanger publicly stated that birth control is more or less the facilitation of the process of weeding out unfit and preventing birth defects. Yes, guys, now can you see why the Democratic Party supports abortion? It all goes back to eugenics and racism. Racism is at the heart of abortion and eugenics.